Well, I came to see Diane then because I was experiencing OCD symptoms and repetitive thoughts that were causing me a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety and just the stress in general. And I was getting to a point where I couldn't handle it anymore on a day-to-day basis. So I found Diane and I approached her about it and I arranged a session with her. And yeah, and here I am at the other end. I went into it not really believing what might happen, etc. But it's obviously worked. It's quite clearly worked.
Yeah. So Neil, what have you experienced from the process?
A lot of change.
Like what's changed for you in this coaching process?
The way I feel. The way I feel mostly.
Is it more positive?
Yes.
Okay.
Much more positive. Much more positive.
If I had to say to anybody looking to do it, come speak to you, that kind of thing, I would say that's probably the biggest thing that I've taken from it, is knowing that this is something in my head, and it's something that I have control over, and I've come out the other side of it better for it. I feel better. I feel better in general. I feel better about everything. And when I do kind of, if something comes into my head or whatever, I know exactly what it is. That it's a thought that's coming to my head. I can control it and I can say, well, I'm the one bringing it in, so I'm the one that can get it out again. I was expecting to be seeing you for multiple sessions.
Okay.
I think that this is probably, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody who's been through the process feels as well. But the biggest thing for me is that I wasn't alone in it. But the longer I let it settle in and the longer I let my mind kind of work through it and I guess kind of paste it into my brain or whatever, that's when it became clearer that yes, it has actually worked. I'm noticing it, other people are noticing it.
So what, if you could describe from where you were to where you are now, would you say it's a big difference?
Yeah, I definitely would. My outlook on stuff in general is a lot more positive. I find it much easier now to understand what it was that was going on in my brain and how I was the one affecting it. It was coming from me. It wasn't some big external force that I had no control over. It all came from me. It was all coming from my head. And speaking to Diane is what actually helped me kind of get to grips with that and start taking the reins over it and start controlling it and I guess steering it in the right direction, if that makes sense. Overall, I'm just feeling a lot more positive. I'm feeling a lot happier. And I'm feeling a lot more clear-headed, which I think is one of the biggest things for me. It doesn't feel anymore like I've got this kind of swirling cloud of stuff going on in my head anymore.
So how do you feel now?
I feel good. I feel really, really good at the minute.
How long did it take, Neil?
It took about 7 or 8 hours or so in one session, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting it to take a lot longer than that. I was expecting maybe, I don't know, God knows how many sessions to actually, get somewhere.
And was that over a course of weeks, or were you able to do that in one day?
That was in one day, one day on a Sunday. I think doing it in one session meant that I didn't get the chance to kind of slip back into old habits.
Yeah.
I think doing it all in one session really let me kind of just pull it out from the root and take control of it. I think had I done it over a number of sessions over a number of weeks, I don't think there's even a probably about it. I would have slipped into old habits and I started doubting it and, basically using it as a crutch more than anything. Because I really did get to the end of the rope with it. I just wanted it gone.
What other things did you try? Do you mind me asking you? What other things did you try for it?
I went to counselling for a number of weeks. Maybe about probably about a year before I came to see Diane or you. And beyond that, it was mostly just kind of reading about the condition and reading kind of articles and, ways to deal with it and kind of cope with it. And yeah, I mean, it was, I didn't really see that many people before it. But before that, I'd basically just been dealing with it in silence for about 6 or 7 years.
Wow, okay.
So I think I just gotten to a point where it was just, deal with it and get to the next day. And I just got to a point where I didn't want to do that anymore.
And how is your life, day-to-day life now? After what you did?
Far and away, much, much better. Much, much, much better. I don't feel like I'm fighting with my brain anymore. That's the main thing.
That's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah. It feels as though... I guess it feels as though I've got a much, for kind of lack of a better word, a better relationship with my brain.
Yeah.
So... It is hard to explain in words, but it really does feel more like a partnership now instead of a kind of a back and forth.
That's very good.
That I felt like I was having before.
Yeah.
I don't wake up anymore dreading what's going to come. I just wake up now with what am I going to do today. Not what am I going to panic about today, what am I going to worry about today. I think it's just a much healthier way of being. Just waking up and being ready for the day ahead, if that makes sense. And I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true.
So would you therefore recommend NLP and hypnosis and timeline therapy for anybody who wants to get rid of stuff?
I would. If I had any advice, it would be brave about it. Because, it's difficult to do. It's difficult to open up to people about what's been going on. And I can empathise with that because what I was dealing with was very extreme. It was very distressing. You probably can't imagine how many people are actually walking past you and dealing with it. And you're kind of absorbed in your own little world about it and what's going on with you. So I would say be brave with it and just go into it with an open mind, because I went into it not really believing what might happen, etc. But it's obviously worked. It's quite clearly worked.
And what do your family and friends said anything to you about any differences? Has anybody noticed any difference?
They have, yeah. They've all noticed. They've all said that I sound happier.
Yes.
Which is a weird thing to kind of comprehend, I guess, because how do you sound happier? Because people can fake that, but I think I sound happier. I feel happier, and I guess I look happier as well. I think I look a lot more confident in myself. I'm just more open to things. Really, is evidence to me and to others. That I've changed for the better as well.